So you mentioned that you had some thoughts on companies that promise algorithmic placements, which I've seen on some companies' websites like, hey, we promise we can get you Discover Weekly or radio
Yeah.
or these other related things. Uh, how do those companies work and like what's the deal? What's going on there?
Well, I was actually on this call hoping to get more answers from you, John, but I can actually do a lot of speculation from here. So that's
Yeah.
already the
Let's,
disclaimer in advance. Yeah. But yeah, what I think is happening because we actually had like one time a curator in our network as well, where we actually noticed that like first like playlists were like super legit, and eventually we noticed like some sketchy stuff with playlists happening. So, but this person was also able to guarantee those algorithmic streams, and this almost like popped up very like from time to time here and there. And in the beginning, like super confident, like, oh, nice algorithms, because like normally you are under the thought that like those algorithms are never going to be fake because they're algorithms generated by Spotify and yeah, name it, right? So I did like a little bit of digging into it, and what I figured is that like when I try to like understand of how these algorithms are being triggered, then it mostly comes down to people saying we got AI advertisement strategies, or we got very good advertisement strategies, or like we can like crank up engagement. But that's something that doesn't make like any sense at all. It's like in some way, right? Because how can you promise certain engagement out of advertisement to trigger algorithms when like based upon the advertisements and the music of the artist, like engagement can never be great because it all depends on the music, right? So like a lot of songs that we work with might not even fit, or might not even be able to get the engagement out of the advertisement because like the music just doesn't fit that well, or it's not as well produced, right? So yeah, then it becomes very hard to get into those algorithms. So yeah, that's just my thinking of like why this how this actually yeah, how it's being promised, and that's actually not possible in such an organic way. So then there must be like other ways that those algorithms are being visible, but like how that's being generated, that's like still a big question mark.
Yeah, it's really interesting. The radio plays make sense to me. So like for algorithmic, you have like I forget there's Discover Weekly, there's radio, there's Daily Mix.
Yeah,
What are the other ones? On repeat.
release
But
radar.
so like yeah, Release Radar, that's the other one. So radio makes sense to me as something you could fake pretty easily. Because like if you owned bot accounts, those bot accounts would still have access to like radio, you know?
Yeah,
And so like
exactly. Yeah, yeah,
they
yeah.
would be streaming like radio is like related artists or like an artist radio station. So those bot accounts could hypothetically stream those things. And because they had streamed your song would appear on their radio stream. So it makes sense to me how you could fake that. Discover
Yeah.
Weekly is a weird one. I've seen that like I have a client who got on Discover Weekly like the day of release and like the numbers look really weird. It's like he had like 5,000 streams day one out of nowhere, like he didn't have an existing audience, and then it goes back down to and he had like 40 the next couple days, and he
Yeah.
triggered Discover Weekly like the first day. And we're like, how would this brand new artist like get on Discover Weekly the first day of release? I literally don't know the answer to that. I don't understand how that one works in my head.
No, that was also like one I was very surprised about. Like you also have release radar, and that one is explainable as well. I mean, like if you have
Right.
500 accounts, like following the artist, and then it pops up in release radar, and let's
Right.
stream it, baby, you know. But
Yeah. But Discover
that was
Weekly
another
is
one
weird
which
because
is
it's
interesting.
supposedly like pushing it. So it's like hard to know how they're triggering it. But yeah, it's interesting. I don't really trust the companies that promise the algorithmic placements. Like I've had some people ask me about that actually, and I'm like, usually if something seems too good to be true, it's probably too good to be true. You can definitely say we are very experienced with triggering Discover Weekly or like with triggering algorithmic placements. And if we accept you and we follow our process, like there's a really good chance that you'll get algorithmic traction. But to say like we promise it, and then at some of the price points that people promise it at, you're like, that just doesn't make sense.